Greetings. My name is Richard and I'm from North Carolina. I am 70 years old and I play nylon string guitar on a sort of a beginner level. For a long time I had been using tablature rather than standard notation in order to play classic guitar pieces and also church hymns. I have not played in church in several years, at least not for a special when all eyes were upon me, due to an incident of stage fright I once had and sort of fell flat on my face. I do find that playing the nylon string guitar, or any guitar really, is quite difficult. It is a real challenge. What this video is about is my views on sheet music notation versus tablature for learning guitar. Now, sheet music is like learning a new language for those who are just starting out. When I was in college, I tried to take a foreign language and wound up dropping out because, try as I may, I just couldn't grasp it. I couldn't progress. And I think that with sheet music, as I have made several attempts to get somewhere with it, as far as being able to read while I play, I have not had much success. The difficulty lies in being able to instantly recognize the notes on the page and translate them to the instrument. I suppose if I could play everything at 1/10 tempo, I'd be able to do it. But as we know, the music won't wait, and as far as sight reading, you have to have that instant recognition. However, for a long time I have used tablature, which I find is far easier. There are those who are critical of tablature because it leaves out a lot of information, and it does compared to standard notation. However, I have found that some tablature contains rhythm markings, or if it doesn't, you can look at the sheet music, which is notation, which is often printed above the tablature, and perhaps pencil in your rhythm markings, and maybe some other kind of markings too, like dynamics and so forth. So many teachers say, don't rely on tab. Tab is a crutch. Tab is for those who just refuse to learn how to sight read on the guitar, standard notation. Well, I've given it a try, and no matter what, I do find it quite difficult still, given it several tries. And at age 70, I'm not sure I want to go through what might be thousands of hours of trying to become proficient at reading while playing. I seem to think that perhaps my time would be better spent in learning technique, in learning pieces, etudes, exercises, and trying to become a better player on the instrument as far as technique goes. while I would either play from memory or play from tablature rather than using standard notation. You know, as you no doubt know, piano is linear, whereas the guitar is a different animal entirely. On piano, the music notation lines up, the notes line up with where they would appear on the piano keyboard, since it is a linear. On the guitar, you have several places that you can play the same note within the same octave. And so it's not a completely linear instrument in that regard. So reading notation for guitar is, in my opinion, much more difficult than on piano. Basically, I feel like that standard notation sheet music is tablature for piano. And we certainly wouldn't ask a piano player to learn tablature and then transpose that into notation to play piano. So perhaps we shouldn't be too critical of someone who says, well, I prefer to use tab rather than sheet music in learning exercises and pieces on the guitar. The particular guitar that I have, and I have probably too many, but this is my latest acquisition, is a Cordoba C12, which I have to say is probably the nicest nylon string guitar I've ever had. It is a full-size guitar. My hands are not all that large. I'm hoping I'll be able to adapt to it and play it. Maybe put a capo at the first or second fret, that might help. Shorten up the scale length a little bit for my relatively short fingers. But I am on a beginner level. I am using the book I am studying from right now is Hal Leonard Classical Guitar Tab Edition that features Paul Henry. And I find it quite interesting, quite progressive, quite easy to take a little bit at a time. So this is the book I'll be using. I also play some pieces from the RCM preparatory book. Those are in standard notation, but I have transposed some of the pieces into tab. Let me know in your comments below what your view is on this. Do you feel that guitarists should ditch tab altogether and only use sheet music? Or do you feel as if they should use them both in combination? Or perhaps for those who find it difficult to read sheet music, do you feel like that tab would be a good way for them to learn? I look forward to reading your comments, and I wish everyone successful and happy learning adventures in guitar.